Welcome to Elselah Books Podcast.
You know, some stories are so huge, so incredible, they almost feel like they're made up. Well, today, we're diving headfirst into one of those stories, and it's all true. It's about a man whose life sparked a quiet but world-changing movement. We're talking about a journey that kicks off on the battlefields of the Spanish Civil War and lands us on the dry, sun-baked plains of southern India, transforming millions of lives along the way. It's quite a tale. So let's get right into it.
So to really get who Vicente Ferrer was, you've got to go back. You have to understand the conflict that shaped him as a young man. I mean, his journey to becoming this great humanitarian, it wasn't some straight shot. Nope. It was forged in the fire of war, of real loss.
I mean, just look at this timeline. It's incredible. Can you imagine? At just 16 years old, he's thrown into one of Spain's most brutal conflicts. By 19, he's a prisoner in concentration camps. His entire youth just completely defined by war. But here's the thing. Instead of letting all that break him, it did the opposite. It forged a whole new path. By 1944, he just walks away from a promising future in law to become a Jesuit missionary, and that decision, that new mission, is what eventually brought him to India in 1952.
Okay, so Ferrer gets to India. And yeah, he sees incredible poverty, but he saw something else too. He didn't see helplessness. And right away, he zeroed in on a totally different way of doing things. An approach that wasn't about just giving handouts, but about real empowerment. His idea? It was so simple, but at the time, it was absolutely revolutionary. See, instead of creating dependency by just giving things away, he basically went to the local farmers and said, look, I will pay you, with wheat and oil, to dig your own wells. He even provided the tools on credit with zero interest. Think about that. This wasn't charity in the traditional sense. It was a partnership. It was about building self-sufficiency and maybe most importantly, preserving the dignity of the very people he was there to help. And did it work? Oh yeah. The results were immediate. You could literally see them. In his very first project area, this whole approach led to the construction of 3,000 wells. 3,000! Bringing life-giving water to this incredibly tough region. This proved his whole idea was solid. But here's the key. Building the wells, that was just step one. The real goal was to build a community.
He had this amazing name for it, the Linked Brotherhood. And it's just brilliant. The idea is this. We help you dig your well. Once it's done, your debt isn't to us. Your obligation is to turn around and help your neighbor dig their well. It's a pay-it-forward system. See? He wasn't just digging holes in the ground. He was weaving together the very fabric of a community that could support itself.
Now, you can probably guess what happens next. When you create this kind of change from the ground up, when you build this much influence, well, people start to notice, and not always in a good way. His work was about to hit a major, major wall. So in 1968, this big Indian magazine runs a huge story on him. They celebrate his work, and they give it this incredible title, The Silent Revolution. It was supposed to be a compliment, a huge tribute. But for some powerful people, that title, it sounded an awful lot like a threat. And that was it. The authorities saw his influence as a direct challenge. So what do? They kicked him out, expelled, ordered to leave the country. And just like that, it looked like everything he had built was over. A totally devastating blow. But wait, this is where the story gets really good, because the plan to silence him, it backfired. Big time. Kicking him out didn't end his mission. It turned it into a national cause. We're talking thousands of farmers, intellectuals, all rallying behind him. It got so big that it landed on the desk of the Prime Minister herself, Indira Gandhi. And get this, just 1 year later, he was invited to come back, with official permission to keep working, this time in an even tougher, more desolate part of the country called Anantapur.
So he comes back in 1969, and by this point, he's left the Jesuits, and he's married to this incredible journalist, Anna Perry. And together, they knew they had to scale up. They had to think bigger. So they founded the Vicente Ferrer Foundation to take their vision to the next level, to make a desert bloom.
And the foundation didn't just focus on one thing. They took this huge, all-encompassing approach. They targeted the most vulnerable people, women, children, people with disabilities, and especially the Dalit caste, who are considered untouchables and faced just the worst discrimination. And what happened next? Well, the scale of the impact is just hard to wrap your head around. Think about this. Over the years, the work of this one foundation has directly improved the lives of more than 2.5 million people. Let that sink in. 2.5 million. It's a staggering number, right? But it's the details, the specific things they accomplish that really show you the whole picture. Let's just run through some of the numbers, because they're amazing. They built 1,700 schools, bringing education to kids who had never had a chance.
Then they built 30,000 houses, giving families that fundamental security, that dignity of having a real home.
And maybe most incredibly, they planted over 3 million trees. They literally transformed a barren wasteland into a living, breathing, sustainable environment. So you see, this was never, ever just about giving handouts. It was about building an entire thriving ecosystem where communities could truly prosper on their own.
You know, a revolution this huge, even a silent one, doesn't stay silent forever. Eventually the world starts to hear the noise, and Vicente Ferrer's quiet, steady, determined work finally started to get the global recognition it deserved.
I mean, the awards started rolling in. He got Spain's highest honors, like the Prince of Asturias Award. UNESCO actually named him one of the leading figures of the entire 20th century. And in 2010, his foundation was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. All these awards, really, they just confirmed what millions of people in India had known for decades. This man's work had changed the world.
Now, Vicente Ferrer passed away back in 2009, but his legacy? It's not something stuck in a history book or hanging on a wall. It is a living, breathing mission. Today, his wife Anna and the entire foundation are still there, carrying that silent revolution forward, changing lives every single day.
What a story, right? It just goes to show you don't have to shout to be a revolutionary. And it kind of leaves you with this powerful question, doesn't it? What silent revolution, born from just one person's quiet dedication, is waiting to be started?
Thank you for listening, and do subscribe to our channel for more.